Hi, I'm John. This is my show, A Sports Reckoning. So this is Merleworld Cards. He calls himself, I don't know what his real name is and stuff. He goes by that Merle because it's like Merlin, the magician and shit, right? Oh, you want to know something funny? Just now that I mentioned, I never had thought about that Merleworld because you mentioned that. Merlin the magician was alive, and his story takes place around King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, which is also the story of the Sword and the Stone. The reason I know this is because I've done my Michael Jackson investigation, and there's a big thing about Michael Jackson that he relates himself and puts himself to characters throughout history that have lineage to orphans and stuff, right? So what happened is, because I've known that there's a thing there. Like if you go to the Jackson's Victory Tour, at the beginning, the opening act of the opening scene of the Jackson's Victory Tour is a recreation of the Sword and the Stone. Okay, they're doing that on stage. They do a recreation of the Sword and the Stone, which is the King Arthur story. But so I went back and actually looked at the King Arthur story, and what I found out is that King Arthur was a child. Orphan. He was an orphan child, and the Sword and the Stone was there, and then everybody's trying to pull the sword out of the stone because then they would become the king, okay? But nobody could pull it out except the one, the chosen one, okay? So then the kid, who was the orphan kid, pulled the sword out of the stone. He was an orphan. The King Arthur story begins, its origin, its place of origin, and where it begins around a story of an orphan child. And that's what I keep saying, is that when you look into Michael Jackson's story, what you'll find out is there's a large connection between Michael Jackson and stories throughout history that are related to around orphans and shit, right? It's a big deal. It's constantly taking place. So I wasn't even thinking about mentioning that, but I just thought about it because you're Merlin. So I just wanted to show you. I've done investigation. I have knowledge about this stuff that's interesting. Things that you should find interesting and shit, right? But so, now, just so you know, like, as a person, I think I'll just call him Merlin. Merle. I guess I don't know his real name and shit. Merle seems like a pretty fucking cool dude. I actually kind of like him. I don't care that, to me, he seems like he's a homosexual, living a fake life. He's got his girlfriend. He's always saying, well, my girlfriend and shit. And it's like, okay, yeah, you got a girlfriend and shit, right? But you are a homosexual. Now, this is what I want to say about Merle. It's like, okay, if you're not a homosexual and you don't like sucking cock and shit, go ahead and tell me. Tell me, dude, it doesn't matter what my personality traits look like. I've never sucked cock. If you've never sucked cock, then you're not a homosexual. I don't care what personality traits you have. If you've never actually performed any kind of homosexual behavior or acts on men, then to me, well, you're not a homosexual. You live completely as a heterosexual, and I don't care what's inside you. And so I'll emphasize on a little bit more about that. So, Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Jeffrey Dahmer is one of the worst serial killers, one of the nastiest serial killers of all time, right? Okay, and he was born that way. And this is why we use Jeffrey Dahmer, because we all know that was him. That was in him. He was like that since he was born, right? Okay, but if Jeffrey Dahmer grows up and he never actually kills anybody, is he a serial killer? This is like a question and stuff, right? It's like so that's what I'm like, relating that to the homosexual thing, right? So if you're homosexual, full-on flaming homosexual inside, but you never actually suck dick and take it up the ass, are you actually homosexual? So that's the thing. If Jeffrey Dahmer never killed anybody, is he a serial killer? Right? No, he's not a serial killer, even though he definitely was a serial killer from birth and shit. That dude is like, as fundamental, like on the inside as a serial killer. He was the real deal. Like we say, like there's homosexuals. There's people that are born gay who have full attraction to men that are men. That's fine. That's the way you're born. I don't got any problem with people of who you are. As long as you're not like a Jeffrey Dahmer when you got someone you're killing people. To be the person of what you are means you gotta inflict pain and torture upon other people and shit, right? We don't like that. That's what we got a problem with. But if you're a homosexual and you're just participating in other homosexual acts with other adult men, I don't got no fucking problem with that. I don't have any problem. But what I do have a problem with is when I come in here and I say, Merle, you look like you're a homosexual to me, right? And then your friend, Dan the Great Curator, decides to yell at me that I'm homophobic and like I'm anti-gay because I make that statement. And it's like, dude, if Merle is a homosexual, then how can it be homophobic for me to say, you look like a homosexual to me? You look like you enjoy sucking cock. You probably like taking it up the ass and shit, right? Okay. What's wrong with that? How is that like homophobic for me? I'm acknowledging that that's a natural part of life and that's a part of who he is and shit. It's like, dude, this is who you appear to be to me. Now, like I said, I could be wrong. Your personality traits could just be, you could just appear to have all of the, not only do you appear to have the personality traits of a homosexual, you totally display your inner feelings with your videos when you're putting yourself as Britney Spears and you're dressing up like a woman. The other day on the live stream with Steve, you said something about the thong that you were wearing. You're like, oh, my thong that I'm wearing. Okay, so I mean, to me, it's like you're clearly openly showing the world that you're a homosexual, right? But then you tell people, well, I got a girlfriend, and you're not like announcing that you're a homosexual. And it's like, dude, you can't run around here doing all your cross-dressing shit, talking about wearing fucking thongs and shit, totally like looking like you're homosexual and shit, right? You can't act that way and not expect me to say, dude, you look gay to me. That doesn't mean I'm putting you down. That doesn't mean I'm homophobic. I'm saying you look gay. You look to me like a homosexual man. So where if I was hanging out with you, I definitely never would be alone with you drinking and shit. Like I wouldn't party with you alone. Put myself into your apartment alone and be having drinks with you? Never. That's where it'd be like, okay, now there I'm homophobic because I do believe that if I went and partied with homosexual men, right? Okay, well, the half of them are going to be sexually attracted to me, right? And then half of them are probably degenerates who, like, if I went and was drinking with them, maybe they might slip me a drug and get me knocked out and they might rape me and shit, right? That happens. That happens. Are you gonna tell me that shit don't happen? Of course it happens. Don't get date rape and shit. Motherfuckers do that shit all the time. That's the fucking world we live in and shit, right? So it's like, dude, I'd hang out with you, Merle. I don't care how flaming homosexual you are. I think you're cool. I think you're a cool guy. I think you would actually have very interesting conversation. I like the conversation you had with Steve, your life experience and shit. I like your life experience and your stories that you talk about. You have good knowledge about movies and sports and shit and like all kinds of music and shit. You have good knowledge. I have no problem having conversations with you for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get away from all the gay shit because, the reason I'm emphasizing the homosexual thing is because I'm going to talk about Michael Jackson being the love child of Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. That's why I'm emphasizing the homosexual thing to you because now, here's where it goes, Merle. It's like, just if you don't like me, who gives a fuck about that? What I'm doing is I'm presenting information to be exposed to the community for other people to be able to use it in their life and shit. Beneficial information, right? So if you think that the world that we live in, that you think that it validates you to withhold valuable information from your friends because you don't like me, then that's where I come out and I say, well, you're a fraud then. You're a fake human being. You actually don't care about society. You don't care about other people's life experience. You don't care that the fact that this information of what I have can be very valuable and beneficial to other people's lives. You don't care about that because you care about you. Because if you're willing to not promote my information and spread it, if you're not willing to help me, then you're a fraud. Because what I'm doing is beneficial to all kinds of other people. And if you're not willing to help them because you're fucking sensitive and you don't like the way I talk, then you're a fucking fraud, dude. I'm making it fucking clear. Who you are as an actual human being, that makes you a fucking fraud. That makes you fake as fuck, dude. And so, like I'm saying, this dude, like, people, they're always afraid to say people's names. It's like, dude, I'll speak up for you. I do think that you're pretty cool. I think that your show's pretty entertaining. I think you've got some interesting quality fucking stuff to show on there. And right there, it says, hit the like, subscribe, and the bell. Now, like, I would never ask anybody to do that for my page and shit, right? I don't ever ask, but I'll do it for you. If any of you people out here kind of want to see some interesting stuff, some cards, some guy who's got some interesting knowledge, a guy who's got a pretty good personality, I think Merle is pretty cool. Go ahead, go over to his page and hit his like button, subscribe to his page, and ring his bell. So, I don't care. I don't know why you people are so afraid to give a little bit of attention to other people. The only reason you're afraid to give attention to other people is because you can't handle. You don't like the fact that somebody speaks on a fucking higher level than you, that's got more information, that maybe more people will like this person. So you don't like that because you're in it for yourself. That's what I keep saying. You guys are afraid to fucking talk to me because it's about you, because you're faking shit, right? So this is what I'm going to show you, Merle. This is the big part of what I'm going to show you. And now it's like, this is what I'm saying, Merle. I say that you're homosexual, which means that you're in the homosexual community, which means that you have to understand, because also you're big as a music fan, you know a lot about that shit. You have to understand how big Diana Ross is in the homosexual community. She's massive, right? Diana Ross is massive. And if you're going to sit there and tell me that you don't think it's important for people to find out the truth that Diana Ross got pregnant at 14 years old by Smokey Robinson and she abandoned her child and that child grew up and became Michael Jackson, that Diana Ross is actually the real mother of Michael Jackson, if you don't think that that's an important piece of information to be shared within the homosexual community and people are Diana Ross's fans, then you're a fraud. You're a fraud on every fucking level. And so now, let me stop talking and show you some proof. Now, I can show you mounds and mounds of proof, but I'm just going to hit one little fucking point right here just to show you that I'm not talking shit. And I've got evidence to back up my stuff. Serious fucking evidence. There's nobody that's willing to stand up against me because I will over fucking run them with hardcore evidence and facts and my fucking interpretation of what's actually going on because I'm right. There's no doubt about it, I'm right. I know I'm fucking right. So, this is Diana Ross in 1970. Now the Jacksons, remember, the Jacksons have come to Motown in 1969. So you're talking about, this is basically right at the beginning of the Jackson 5 thing, and they're coming to Motown. So Diana Ross, in the real story of what we're supposed to know, Diana Ross has supposedly just met this kid, Michael. She's just met this kid. Remember, that kid, Michael, comes from the Jackson family where they've got a big family, a mother and a father, and all these other children and shit, right? But for some reason, listen how Diana speaks about Michael. And now remember, Michael's not the only kid in the world out there who can sing. He's not the only fucking one. I mean, come on. But for some reason, this kid, she is infatuated with this fucking kid in a way that is fucking... Nobody, the people explain it all the way. It was never truly explained because nobody could ever get to the point to understand that Michael was not part of the Jackson family. That was a place that nobody ever could go. I went there. Once you went there, everything fucking clears up and is explained now. Now listen to Diana Ross talking about Michael Jackson and how she feels about him.
Listen, we have one of them in the audience here with us.
Where?
We have Michael Jackson somewhere out there. Is he out there? Where is he? There he is. That's my child.
Hey.
That's Michael.
There he is, all alone. There he is, by himself. That's my child.
You know, Brenda.
Don't you know anybody? You get a better seat?
He's been incognito.
Oh.
You know, they make me work hard because I want to be something. I mean, I am. Michael has always been like a son or a brother or something to me, and they admire me sort of like. So I try very hard to keep up such an image for them. And when I do a show like this, they usually sneak Michael in. I really didn't know he was going to be here. I heard about it, and I was hoping that he was here because it makes me a little bit stronger because I'm doing it basically for him.
I'm doing it basically for him. They usually will sneak Michael in. Where's Michael's brothers and sisters? He's part of the Jackson family. Where are they? Why are they sneaking Michael in to go see her shows? Why is she says, well, I am. Michael has always been like a son to me. Everything I do, I'm doing for him. They make me work so hard for him, and I have to, dude, she just met Michael. This is 1970. Look at the way in which she is speaking and referring. There's Michael, that's my child. Well, I've always been, Michael is like a son to me, and they make me work hard because basically I'm doing everything for him. One specific person. They sneak him in here. Did you just see what she fucking said about that? And there's Michael all alone. You're going to tell me Joe just going to allow all of this to happen? Look at how she's speaking about him. Look at what is occurring. That's her child. Now, let's get some more fucking evidence. Here's Michael Jackson on the Oprah Winfrey interview. Listen to what he says here about Diana Ross.
I mean, when I was little, I used to stay with Diana Ross. My brothers, we stayed with her for years.
Okay, when I was little, just so I want to clarify so you can understand. So, when the Jacksons moved to LA from Detroit, there's a period of time there that they're living in Diana Ross's house. Now, doesn't that fall in line with the pattern of what I'm saying when you see how Diana Ross is referring to Michael Jackson, that Diana Ross had abandoned her child, but then Michael had come back to her, and now she wants to reunite and have all this fucking special time with her son. There he is. They sneak him in here. Everything I do is for him. Can you understand how she's actually speaking, what she's actually talking about? And when they move to LA, what do? They move into Diana Ross's house. This shit's unusual. It's odd. It's odd. Now, this is Michael Jackson's autobiography, Moonwalk. This is his book. This is a passage. Let me read this for you. Okay, so it says, so Diana didn't find us first. Okay, so now the true story is because it says Diana Ross presents the Jacksons. Okay, now so if there was a real thing where Diana Ross actually, like, let's say that Diana's not the mother and she just happened across this young band and that she's the one that actually pulled that band and took them to Motown herself and that they created the Diana Ross, let's say that because that's the story they tell. But when you know that that's not actually what happened, because there's like Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers, there was like Gladys Knight and the Pips, there was different shit going on, and it definitely was not the story of what actually took place. It was Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers. It was Bobby Taylor who actually, just to mention, Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers, in the band, the Vancouvers is Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong. Just a little inside note thing to show you that, because I know a lot, because people don't know that Tommy Chong was actually a Motown artist. Tommy Chong was actually in that band, Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers. Tommy Chong knows Michael Jackson since he was a little kid, before he went to Motown, you know? So there's just funny stories like that, right? So he acknowledges to you that, so Diana did not find us first, okay? So that's not the true story. So if Diana has this connection to Michael, well, then that would be that the connection of how she found him and that she brought him here and all that stuff. But that's not actually what happened. So why would she then have this kind of level of connection? It's not. That was like a publicity stunt and shit, right? Since that was not the true story, why would she have this level of connection to Michael? So you understand? She didn't pull him out of obscurity. That's not what happened. There's something else going on there, right? So it says, but I don't think we'll ever be able to repay Diana properly for all she did for us in those days. When we finally moved to Southern California, we actually lived with Diana and stayed with her for more than a year on a part-time basis. She was so wonderful, mothering us, see the word, what he says? Mothering us and making us feel right at home. Okay, so it's right there too, mothering us. He's talking about not just him, he's talking about all of them, right? But why are not any of the other Jacksons then with Michael in the audience? And when she's saying, I basically do everything for him. She didn't say I do everything for them, for these children. No, it's him. They usually sneak him in here. There he is. That's my child. Well, he's always been like, he is like a son to me. She's specifically speaking about Michael. It's Michael. And look at the relationship of how they built it together instantly. There's something else going on here and shit, right? So, mothering us and making us feel right at home. She really helped take care of us for at least a year and a half while my parents closed up the Gary house and looked for a house we could all live in here in California. This was an important period in my life because Diana loved art and encouraged me to appreciate it too. She took the time to educate me about it. Listen to this. We'd go out almost every day, just the two of us. We'd go out almost every day, just the two of us. Dude, Michael's living in her house. Diana's taking him out almost every day, just the two of them. How would Joseph and Catherine allow that to occur? You're going to tell me Joseph. Just think of who Joseph Jackson is, right? And he's got all these other children, but for some reason, Diana has the power to have the Jackson family living in her house. She's got the power to exclude Michael away from the rest of the family and build this personal relationship with Michael on her own time and by themselves. We'd go out almost every day, just the two of us. That's wrong. This should not be occurring. This would never have been allowed to occur. It's not like that Diana pulled the Jacksons out of obscurity. That's not what happened. So she should not have this level of a connection to them. And if it would be, it'd be to the whole family. Why would she be taking Michael out almost every day, just the two of them? And it says, and we'd buy pencils and paint. When we weren't drawing or painting, we'd go to museums. She introduced me to the works of the great artists like Michelangelo and Degas. And that was the start of the lifelong interest in art. Okay, well, why didn't she bring any of the other kids with them? Don't you think Michael would have liked having the enjoyment of one of his siblings with him and to experience this stuff together? Wouldn't that have been beneficial to the other kids? And remember, there's the Jackson 5. They're all signed to Motown. They're all Motown artists. But for some reason, it's just Michael. Look at how she talks about him. That's my child. Basically, everything I do is for him. Look at what Michael says in his book. He tells on that Oprah, he says we're living, just to double verify it, because both of them say that they were living, just to show you they were living in Diana Ross's house. And Diana Ross excludes Michael away from the rest of the family, and she builds this personal relationship with him, taking him out almost every day, just the two of them. Now, this is what I say to the community, like Merleworld. Not only am I giving you valuable information that should be exposed to the homosexual community who are massive Diana Ross fans, they should know the truth about who Diana Ross actually is, that she's actually the actual mother of Michael Jackson. That's valuable information in that community. Those are people that are big fans. They should know who she actually is. They should know the truth that Michael Jackson's actually her fucking child. Okay, so not only am I bringing valuable information to the homosexual community, okay, but I'm homophobic and shit, right, for doing this. I'm homophobic. I'm the person here who doesn't want to do anything for homosexual people, right? I'm the person who hates homosexual people, but the information I have is incredibly valuable information in that community, and I'm just going to offer it up to them, but I hate them, right? That's ridiculous. So not only am I giving incredibly valuable information to the homosexual community, I'm actually giving quality, valuable information, investing information to the sports card and collectible community. Now, this is what I keep showing the people to show. It's like I'm bringing valuable information into this community, of which, what do you guys do? What information do you actually bring? What do you bring to the community? What do you bring into the sports card community? You don't bring like what I'm bringing. What I'm bringing is a massive discovery of which can be invested in right now, because when my story breaks, there would be money to be made. So it's like, don't do it just, okay, it's like, it's like, oh, you want to give information to the homosexual people who are huge Diana Ross fans and help them? It's like, there's all the orphans out there in the world who would benefit from understanding that Michael Jackson was abandoned as a child, and look at where he went. Don't you think that would help every child out there who's actually been abandoned or has had their parents killed? Don't you think it would benefit those people to help them for them to understand that Michael Jackson, who was the biggest pop star in the world ever has seen, that this kid was given away as a child, but look at where he ended up, that your life can take you in different places, and just because of your situation of what you're living in now does not mean that that's this life that you're going to live through the rest of your life. Don't you think that that's beneficial information to those people? Like, I'm actually trying to help people. Not only am I actually trying to help people, I'm actually giving financial benefits to people within the community. If you want to invest in this, there's also financial gains that can be helped through the collector community. I'm helping everybody. So this is available right now for sale in eBay. Now, the guy's asking $10,000 for it, and he's got a or best offer. So that's a thing that would have to be to figure out what the actual price of what it would sell for and stuff. But these are the things of what I'm saying. There are collectibles that are out there that are related to my story with Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, that are not properly valued right now. And I don't care who buys this. Like even Dan, the fucking great curator guy, right? I don't even care if that loser gets this, because as long as my story gets exposed, because I'm in it for the bigger picture of actually trying to expose the truth and actually help people and shit, right? So this is a crew pass from the USA from Africa. We Are the World, which is one of the most iconic fucking performances in music culture history. I mean, that event, that's like a once in a lifetime fucking event. The song is phenomenal, but the actual event of what they actually did is phenomenal. So this is one of the crew passes from that. So you're talking a very limited number. This is rare. When you want to talk about something that's rare, not only is it rare, it's directly involved in a fucking major historic event that has occurred, okay? So now, and it's signed. This one's signed by 6 fucking famous people. Like on the front there, one of the signatures is Bruce Springsteen. It's one of that I know is, okay, but so I'm just playing this now to try and get it to go forward here. Here we go. Okay, so now it's going to come. So this is my video I'm showing you here. This is a video I made, so I'm just trying to get it. So now, there. That's the back of it. On the back of it, up there at the top, it's signed by Diana Ross. And then right under the number 122, that's Michael Jackson's signature. Okay, and then underneath that's Bob Dylan. So the guy under that he's not just some nobody, it's also Bob Dylan, which is cool, you know? But it's not related to my story of the Diana Ross and Michael thing. But anyways, it still is Bob Dylan and shit, right? But so, what I say is if you want extremely valuable collectibles that are directly related to my story, what you want to find is items that are dual signed by Michael and Diana, or like Michael and Smokey, or Diana and Smokey, or if you can find the jackpot and find an item that's signed by all three of them. If you can find something that's signed by Michael, Diana, and Smokey, and you can purchase it right now, the value of what that's going to be after my story breaks, it's going to be monumentally different. We're on a world of difference. Whatever the value of this is right now, of what somebody would put a value of that is nowhere near the value, the true value of what that is when the people find out the truth that Diana Ross is actually Michael Jackson's actual mother. Do you know what the value of this item right there, which is for sale right now, and I offer it up to the total community. That's what I'm saying. I'm not just giving quality information here that can benefit actual human beings' lives and shit. I'm actually giving financial fucking advice, and I'm directly showing you, here's an item of exactly what I'm talking about. You find a Michael Jackson, Diana Ross dual signature on an item, this thing is drastically undervalued. What the value of what this item right here, of what it's going to be after my story breaks and the people find out that Diana Ross is actually Michael Jackson's mother, and you have a dual signature of them on a crew pass from the We Are the World USA for Africa event, that's a fucking collectible. That thing is fucking valuable. That thing is worth way fucking more than whatever price would be put on it right now. That could be the only one. Right? That could be the only crew pass out there that has the signature of Diana and Michael on it. That might be the only one. That might be the one of one. That might be the only one that exists out there that has a dual signature of them on the crew pass like that. That could be the only one. What is that thing fucking worth? What would that thing actually be worth when the truth comes out that Diana Ross is actually Michael Jackson, the king of pop, biggest fucking star of all time, that his real parents are actually Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson, two giant stars in their own fucking right? And I just showed you, I've got evidence. I show you, and the evidence of what I show you, it's unusual. Isn't it unusual for the way of which Diana Ross spoke about Michael? That's my child. He's always been like a son to me. Everything, they make me work hard because basically everything I do is for him. That's unusual. Isn't it unusual that the Jacksons are living in Diana Ross's house? And at the time of what they're living in Diana Ross's house, Diana Ross is building an exclusive relationship just with Michael Jackson outside of the Jackson family. That is unusual. That should not be able to happen. All of these things, when you look at the events of what's occurring, not only does it prove my story, it also shows you when you just look at it that these events should not be occurring. There's no reason for these events to be occurring if this normal story that Michael's part of the Jackson family and that they just went to Motown, that's how they met Diana Ross, these things would not be occurring. They're unusual on a serious level. And the only reason when I show you the truth of what's actually going on here, I show you that those events are unusual and they don't align properly with the story of what they've been telling you. But when you come back and you find the real, which I've done, the real investigation, and I know that Diana Ross is actually Michael Jackson's mother and that Michael was abandoned because it happened at the same exact time of which Motown was being created. It happened right after. See, Berry Gordy met Smokey Robinson in August of 1957. That's the first stage of where Motown starts. It's right there, right there. Berry Gordy meets Smokey Robinson in August of 1957. Michael Jackson is born in August of 1958. 1 year after Smokey Robinson meets Berry Gordy, Michael Jackson's born, which means he was conceived just a few months after that event happened. A few months after Smokey Robinson met Berry Gordy, Michael Jackson's conceived. That's just facts. It's all documented. But then what you find out is I've got it proven. I've got Diana Ross on the Arsenio Hall show in 1991, and Arsenio Hall asks her, who was your first love? Diana Ross says, Smokey Robinson was my first love, but she doesn't just emphasize, she says, I was best friends with his cousin, Sharon Burston. And because of that, I was able to sleep over in Sharon's house, which is Smokey Robinson's house. Sharon lives with Smokey. They live in the same house. Diana's best friends with Sharon, which enables her to sleep the night over in Smokey Robinson's house. But Diana Ross is also saying that she's in love with Smokey Robinson. And she says, that was when I heard Smokey's song on the radio and I realized that you could actually make a song and it could be on the record. That's Smokey Robinson's first song called Got a Job, which is released in early 1958. That's exactly the time. First, Diana sees Smokey hook up with Berry Gordy, sees that this is actually happening. Smokey Robinson's future wife, Claudette, is in the band The Miracles. She's in the band The Miracles. So Diana can't get into the band because Claudette's already in the band. Diana can't hook up with Smokey to be her girlfriend because Smokey's already got a girlfriend, Claudette, who's in his band. So Diana's on the outs. What can she do? What can she do is, well, she can sleep the night over in Smokey Robinson's house, and when Claudette goes home, and after they've been doing the band, and everybody else goes to sleep, and everybody's asleep, Diana Ross could have sex with Smokey Robinson, who she's in love with. That's what happened. She had sex with him. She got pregnant. That's what happened. But when Berry Gordy finds out what had occurred, Berry Gordy's like, hey, I'm building this record company around Smokey Robinson. I can't be building and this is Berry Gordy now. He's building his record company, right? He's in the music business. He understands what a reputation. He's already got a name established in the record company. He understands what building a reputation and building his record company. You can't build it around a scandal. That's the motive. Because anybody who knows anything about criminal activity or crimes and things that have occurred, you've got to have a motive. That's the motive. I've got a fucking direct motive. That Berry Gordy could not accept Smokey Robinson being the fucking primary artist that he was going to build his record label around if Smokey Robinson's got a child from a 14-year-old Diana Ross living right in the neighborhood. That's a problem. So that's the motive of what got them together. And what you find out is that Berry Gordy and Joseph Jackson are the same age. And at the same times in their life, they were both fighting in the Golden Gloves. They were boxing in the Golden Gloves. Then after they both left the Golden Gloves, they both started pursuing a career in the music industry. And you find out that Joseph Jackson actually knows a lot more people than what people know in the scenes of what he was running around, because they talk about Gary, Indiana, but that's right under Chicago, which is this major black music scene of the Chicago blues. Okay? Detroit's only a couple hundred miles away. It's not like it's on the other side of the planet. That's a couple hundred miles away, where one of the primary music primary music places of what's occurring with the Chicago blues scene. Joe Jackson is a blues guitar player, right from Gary. He was hanging out in the Chicago blues scene. He was actually a known musician in that scene. And in his band, when Joe Jackson actually started his first band, in his band is a guy named Pookie Hudson. That's the singer of Joe Jackson's band, is a guy named, because Joe Jackson has a band called the Falcons, right? He's got a singer in the band called Pookie Hudson. Pookie Hudson leaves Joe Jackson's band and creates his own band, and he becomes a star. He has a band called the Spaniels, and one of the hit songs of what they produce is a song called Good Night, Sweetheart, well, it's time to go. Do, 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 do. Good night, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, sweetheart, good night. Do, 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 do. Okay, so that song was a big fucking hit song. Pookie Hudson's from Gary, Indiana. He was in Joe Jackson's band. That's what I'm telling you. And that style of song of what it is that I just sang for you right there, it's doo-wop in like 1955, before Berry Gordy creates Motown, which is this primary style of music of which he starts producing, is doo-wop music. One of the main guys who are the inventors, the actual founders of doo-wop music, is a guy named Pookie Hudson, who was in Joe Jackson's band. That's how it knew. Joe Jackson and Berry Gordy are friends. They knew each other. That's how Michael ended up getting put into that house, into the Jackson household. That's how it happened. That's how Berry Gordy... that's how Joe Jackson knew. As soon as Michael started showing the talent as a singer, Joe Jackson knew exactly what he was doing. We're going to build a band, and we're going to go back to Motown. Because the kid with all the talent was given to him from Berry Gordy. That's why you put Michael to work at 5 years old, and Joe instantly knows what to do now. Joe's got it all figured out. Once the kid starts to sing, now Joe knows what to do. He went on the road. He knew exactly what he was doing because the kid was given to him from fucking Berry Gordy in Motown. That's why they're on their fucking, they're gonna get it all done. They're going right back to Motown. This is the true story. And you're gonna, not only are you gonna withhold fucking valuable information from the homosexual community and like the orphan community and shit, you're also gonna withhold valuable financial fucking information from the sports card community. And you're gonna sit up there and actually tell me that the conversation of what you guys have, you're gonna say that you're providing more quality information to the community than what I'm providing? No, you're not. I'm the one here that matters. I'm the one here bringing information on a different fucking level that has to be dealt with and exposed to the fucking world. None of you motherfuckers are anywhere near on my level. But I give you a chance to participate in this to see if you're any kind of quality human being who understands what the world actually is about and what truth and fucking what it means to people. Exposing the truth. Giving people the truth so they can build their fucking life around the truth. But you motherfuckers want to say, well, we don't like the tone of your voice, so that's it. I'm not going to expose the truth. I'm not going to give these people this information because you're a big meanie, John. John, you're just too much of a meanie, and I don't like the tone of your voice. So that's it. You're blocked. Goodbye.